Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to PPS Theory Sessions. We are continuing file handling unit right now, and we are about to complete it today also. So, the theory part that we have completed in previous lecture, that's where we ended up the 10th unit and the entire syllabus. Let's go through a few more practicals here related to file handling and the remaining lectures will go through for we will go for the maybe query solving part and few other things, right? So let's continue. This is what we were discussing yesterday in a previous lecture. We are going through the file handling part. So we are looking at how we can open a file, right? And we can close a file. And once we open or close between that part, if you want to read something from the file, if you want to write something to the file, we have gone through this example, right? So we open character1.file in a read mode, then we open character2.txt file in the append mode, and what we had done was from first file we read a character, and if that character is not end of the file, till that time we are running this loop where we write the same character in second file, right? And we at the end we close both the files. So this was the first example of file handling we looked at. And then we moved to the theory part again. We looked at there is a getW, fw function also to work with integers. Then there is a getS, putS function also, or fgetS, fputS function also. So you can work with strings. And if you don't want to bother those things, you can also go for fscanf, fprintf functions, which will just look like printf and scanf you are using daily, right? So the second example, we moved to have a look at those functions here. So the example we took was, let's say we have a structure. So we have gone for a more complex scenario here. What if we want to write entire student data in the file? And what if we want to read that file and we want to extract that student data from the file? So what we have done was we have gone for a student structure here, which consists of roll number, name, and marks. Even name has been divided into two parts, first name and last name. Okay. So then we move towards, let's say user will give how many students data he has, and for that many number of loop we are running here, iterations we are going for, and we ask user to give us the data, and every time what we do is we store that data into the file. Now when we write that data in a file, remember this is a permanent storage, right? So in a previous lecture I run this code and I've given two students. Look, till now, whenever you store any data in a variable, once your program ends, data is gone, right? After a day or two, you will not be able to receive that data back because variables are stored in a RAM. RAM is a volatile memory. So once your program is over, data is lost. If you want to go for permanent storage, then you need to go for permanent memory, and that's where we need a file. So yesterday I've given two student data and I store that data in a file. So that data is still with me here in the file, students.txt file. We have both the students here, right? So this is kind of a permanent storage. Whenever you want to store something permanently, you may go for a file structure. So we have used file here. You may also go for database management systems. So you may go for database, and that will be later in CEIT students will learn database in next semester. Then there'll be more understanding how database works and how we can fire some queries and all, right? Right now, we will only have a look at file system. So we store that data inside a file, and we have that data permanently stored, and whenever we want, we can access that data. So how do we store that data? So once we take data from the user, we take that data in a structure, and now what we do is we pass that structure variable into this function. So that function, write student data function, is responsible to open a file, right? And using fprintf, you write that data into the file, okay? And then you close that file again. Now, if you are not able to open a file properly, then you return negative value. If you write your data perfectly, there is no problem, then you return positive value. And when we come back from that function, we'll check what is the value here. So any non-zero value, positive value, will give data return. Maybe we need to have a look at what happens if I give -1 here, okay? In that case, it may go for, yeah, and in that case, let's return 0 here, okay? Because for if any non-zero values will be true, and 0 will be considered as a false. So if non-zero value, data return. If 0, then we go to else part and we say error, cannot write data. So this writes some data into the file. And one more thing, when you open this file, you open it in the append mode, right? You are going to open that file in the append mode. So we already have 2 students inside this file. Now if I run this code, then it is going to append new students in that file, okay? So let's go through it one more time. So I'm going to run this code as it is. It says how many students do you have? Let's say 2 more students we have today, okay? 2 more students we have today. And for that, it is asking us the roll number, name, and all those things. So earlier we were having this code like 11, 22. So today let me say 33 is the roll number. First name, okay. Let's say double R or triple R is the first name. Triple T is the last name, and marks 88. Data written. And as soon as it writes that data, you can see that data here, and it has been appended in the existing file. So original data is as it is. This new data has been appended inside your file. So your program is asking the second student now. Okay, let's go for roll number 44. First name is triple W, last name is triple E, and total marks 66. And done, right? So I've given 2 more students today, and it has appended all those students in the same file here, right? So it is always appending whatever student data we pass. So any query or question till now? Any query or question till now? Okay, fine. Thank you, Hussein, for replying. Well, in that case, let's move towards the next function, fprintf function, because we have seen fscanf, right? We have seen fprintf. Now let us go for fscanf. Fprintf is going to write your data into the file, and fscanf is going to scan your data from the file. So if you want to read your data, you may go for fscanf. So let's say, let me comment this much code. I don't want to write new student data into the file now. Whatever data I have already, I want to read it. Okay, whatever data we have, sorry, yeah. So I'll comment this much part of the code where we ask user how many students you have. We take that data and write that data. I'm going to comment it. Now we want to write this function, read student data. So we simply call that function from this place. Okay, read student data from the file. Now, definitely, if you want to pass your file name as a parameter, you can, but I'm not doing that thing right now. Let's say we simply call this function read student data. Now, inside this function, here, we are going to read that file using fscanf, and we will print everything on the output screen. Okay, so definitely if you want to read your file, you have to open that file and go for it. So I'm going to copy this much code. Okay, and paste it here. So to read a student data, we are going to open this file in a read mode. So let us change the mode. So students.txt file, open it in a read mode, you will have file pointer fp. Now if fp is not proper, then look, we are not going to return anything from this place because return type is void. We'll simply print a message. If file is not opened, then a simple acknowledgement message to user, file cannot be opened, right? Simple. And if you open your file, then here you are going to read it. Read your data from the file. Now, if you want to read it, then what you do is you use fscanf function. Fscanf function. Now, the syntax of fscanf is the first parameter is going to be your file pointer. Second parameter is going to be the control string, and the third and so on parameter is going to be the list of your variables. So what we need is from this file, we are going to read entire line, this entire line in a single shot. We are going to read one student in a single shot. So first of all, we have integer number. Then we have one space. After that, we have one string. Then we have one space. We have another string. We have one space. And we have float number. So integer, string, float. Okay. So what we need is we want to read one integer, so %d. Then we go for a space. So inside this fscanf, I am going to have one space here. Then I have a string, so %s, another space, %s, another space, and the last one is float number, so %f. Now this is the format, the control string that I am going to read from that file. Okay, and I'll say that at the end I'll also read /n, new line character. I'm going to read it, because if I don't read it, then file pointer will not be updated, right? So we will also read /n from that file. So we'll read integer number, then we will read one space. After that, we are going to read one string, then we will read a space. We'll read another string, we will read a space, and then we'll read float number. And at the end, we are also going to read /n. So this is the thing we are going to read. Now, inside this control string, whatever these placeholders you have defined, for those things, %d, s, and f, you are going to provide variables here. Where do you want to store these values? Okay, where do you want to store these values? So we say that, okay, the first percentage D is for roll number, but where do I store this roll number? Now generally we store that in a structure format again, right? So we need to have one structure variable. So let us declare a local structure variable S. Okay, so I declare a local structure variable S, and then I'll say S dot roll number. Now as long as percentage D is the integer value, we need to have ampersand S dot roll. Likewise, we'll go for S dot F name. As long as it is a string, we need not to have ampersand sign. Then S dot L name, and the last one is going to be ampersand S dot marks. So we read all those data from the file. Using fscanf, I'm going to read that data from that file. Okay, and what I'll do is, let us print that data. Simple printf, simple printf. I'm again going to print that data, percentage DSSF slash n, and one student data. I'm going to print it here. Okay, so what we do now is we open a file. Okay, we open this file, then we read that file in this format, and whatever data we receive from the file, we simply print that data on the screen, and then we close it. Look, we have gone for a single student right now. हमने सिर्फ एक स्टूडेंट का डेटा रीड किया है. Okay, the first one. Let us check it out. So I'm going to save this file and I will run this code. Yeah, so we have one problem. Definitely read student data has a return type void, so I need not to return anything from this function. So let's remove that return statement, and then again I'm going to run this code. Okay, and it has given us the first student here. Okay, what we have here is the first student. So if we again read that data, fscanf, and then we simply print it, then we'll be having another student also, and so on. So if you go and iterate this thing, fscanf and printf thing, if you are going to iterate it, then you can have a number of students printed at this place. So what we can do is, we can say that, okay, let's have a simple printf. We are going to make a header here, header to create a table. Okay, a table for entire data. So the first one is roll number slash t, then f name slash t, l name slash t, marks. So that's my table header. Now then what I'll do is, I'm going to have a while loop so that I can iterate these two things. And when I print this data, instead of having this space, I'm going to have slash t here. Look, when I print, at that time I'm going to have slash t. Okay, and once I'm done with while loop, I'm going to end this table. So that's just the tabular format. Now we need to decide what should be the condition. Okay, what should be the condition of this while loop. Look, earlier you have seen that when you read a character, that character may be end of file marker. End of file marker. Now there is one more function, okay? There is one more function which you can use, and it is file function. So f and then eof, end of file. Feof is a function which will just check whether the given pointer fp, okay, whether the given pointer fp is reached up to the end of the file or not, yes or no, and it is going to return boolean or true false kind of data here. So it will be 1 or 0. So what we want is, if this is not end of the file, so I'm going to have negation sign just before this function. So while fp is not at end of the file, I'm going to iterate this process. Okay, let me explain this thing again. While my file pointer is not pointing to end of the file, I'm going to iterate this process. And in that iteration, I'm going to read all the data, print it on the screen. Now, whenever you read or write something, these functions are going to update your file pointer always. So once your data is over, file pointer will be pointing to end of the file, and that will terminate your while loop. So now if I save this code, okay, and if we try to run this code, then it prints the entire table here. Earlier we looked at how to read a single student, but then let's say if we have decided that we want to print that entire file on the output screen, then this is how you can read that entire file. And when your file pointer reach up to the end of your file, you will terminate that process. So we have that entire file on the output screen. We read that entire file on the output screen. So that's where actually we complete this program also, working with structures, file systems, fprintf and fscanf functions also. Okay, so any questions or doubt? Any question or doubt till now? Fine, great then. So I can also declare that I'm done with my entire content of this this syllabus also. What I'll do is I will upload these programs, file related programs in your e-content. I believe I have already uploaded few of the programs. Student result related array program I have uploaded. PPTs I have uploaded. Just file handling, this last unit PPT is remaining. I'm going to upload that thing also in the e-content. I'll upload these programs in a zip format, so you can refer those programs also. It will be for your reference whenever you need. So that's all from my side. So if we again have a look at the syllabus, when we started this semester, we have gone through the syllabus, right? And now let us revise. Let's again go through the syllabus and let's verify whether we have achieved all the things or not. Correct? So this is what the syllabus given by the university to us, and inside this we have gone for one by one units. The first unit was the basic part to just understand what is software, what is hardware, types of softwares and hardwares, and algorithms, languages, compiler and interpreter, and all those things we started, right? Compiler, all high level languages will require compiler. Compiler is going to convert your high level language program to machine level language program or low level language program. Interpreter is going to interpret your code, right? Compiler can compile your program, and compiled program you can store somewhere. Interpreter, your program is always going to be interpreted. Every time you run your code, it is going to interpret it. Okay. The second unit was fundamentals of C, where we have introduced C programming language, a C language, and we have gone for the basics. What is the header file? What is the structure of C program? What are the data types and constants, variables, operators, and all. So primitive and non-primitive data types, integer, float, character, double, long, short, all these are primitive data types, right? All the data types that you create using primitive data types, we can say it's a non-primitive data type. Array, structure, and all those things. What is a variable? Variable is nothing but one place where we store our data. We can change that data also. That's why it is called variable. We need to declare the variable, and for that we use identifier. So few identifier rules we have gone for. Then there are operators. So mathematical operator, logical operator, bitwise operator, conditional operator. We have seen a list of operators there. And whenever we have the operators and few expressions, we also see what is the precedence and associativity of those operators, right? Multiplication, division, and modulo operator is having higher precedence compared to addition, subtraction, right? All these operators are having associativity from left to right. Power operator, well, C does not have inbuilt support of power operator, but if you think of power, then it has associativity right to left. Okay. And we have seen number of operators, precedences, associativities, and all. We have seen type conversion also. Okay. Type conversion. Inbuilt type conversion and explicit type conversion also. You can convert float value to integer. Floating point part will be discarded. Implicit type conversion is also there. Explicit type conversion is also there. If you have integer divide by integer, then by default C program will give you the integer answer, but division process will lead to the floating point answer. In that case, we need to explicitly convert one number to the float so that we can have final answer in float. Another explicit type conversion we have seen at the time of pointers. When we allocate a memory, dynamically when we allocate a memory, we go for explicit type conversion of that memory, right? So those were the type conversions. Later, we move towards the control structures. So in that we have seen decision-making statements like if, else if, ladder, if else, nested if else, switch case, and all. We looked at looping statements like for loop, while loop, do while loop, nesting of all these structures, then continue statement, break statement, and all, go to statement. Wherever it is possible, never go for go to statement. Okay, make use of other structures properly. Then we move towards arrays and strings. Strings is nothing but a character array. So how we can declare an array, how we can assign some value at the time of declaration to the array, how we can access elements of the array, and all those things. We've also seen few built-in functions of string, strcmp to compare, strlen to find the length, right? strrev to reverse your string, and so on. After that, we looked at functions, how we can have a user-defined function. What is the need of the function? So function enables reusability, right? Once you define a function, you can use that function anywhere within a program, whenever and wherever you want. Otherwise, what you need to do is you need to write that code one more time. So functions are nothing but a block of code given a label. Using that label, you can use that block of code, and that is something like we call a function. So whenever there is a function, you need to be careful of three things: function declaration, function call, function definition. Function declaration will consist return type, function name, parameter list. Function definition will have two portions, function header and function body. Function header is much similar to the function declaration, right? So after function, we have seen recursion. Recursion is something more important here, because later point of time, even you are going to use recursion at multiple places. Recursion is something which combines functions and iterations. Okay, you are going to call a function multiple times from the same function inside the same function. That is what the recursion is. And the applications of recursion we have seen, like calculating Fibonacci series or factorial, Ackermann function. Also, we have seen how we can use recursion in quicksort and merge sort, right? After that, we've gone for pointers. Pointer is nothing but accessing the address of any variable or any data, to be specific. You are directly accessing the address of the memory location using pointer. Then the structure is nothing but, again, collection of elements. So similar to array. The difference between array and structure is array will have all the elements having same data type, whereas structure can have elements of same or different data types. Structure and pointer also we have seen. So here there is one minor point that you need to remember. If you are accessing structure with normal variable, you have dot operator to access members. But if you are accessing your structure with pointer, then instead of dot, we have arrow operator to access member of the structures. Okay. Then we have gone for dynamic memory allocation, and the last thing we were looking at file management. So introduction and few functions that we have covered. So that's where the entire content completed. Few reference books, and now let's really check out whether we have really achieved this thing, whether we do know all these points or not. So formulate algorithm flowchart. Unit number 1, we have seen algorithms and flowcharts, and that's nothing but the step-by-step process. If you have been given any definition or the problem, then you are, I believe, you are now able to write step-by-step process to achieve the solution. If I tell you, find the percentage of a student given by marks, then you know that, okay, take all the marks of 5 subjects, step number 1. Step number 2, calculate the total. Step number 3, find the percentage using equation. And then step number 4, print that percentage on the output screen. So that's nothing but the algorithm. Graphically, if you display it, then it becomes flowchart, right? Then the second outcome is translate algorithm or a flowchart to C program with correct syntax and execute. You have gone for number of programs in your laboratory sessions. So definitely you are able to write your program and execute it. If I give you the algorithm, step-by-step instruction, then you can easily write a C program using that algorithm. Okay. Then it says write a program using conditional, branching, iteration, and recursion. You have used conditional and branching statements, right, inside making some decisions. The program related to that was this. Here you have used switch case or else if later, right? Then it says iteration. Well, we have gone for for loops, while loops multiple times. And the recursion. We have made a factorial program to make use of recursion. We have also gone for calculating a series using recursion, right? Then the fourth one, it says decompose a problem into function, right? So it's related to a function, create a function. Related to functions, you have gone for multiple programs also. Like we have created a function to swap two numbers. Okay, if you remember, um, we have gone for swapping two numbers somewhere near about this thing. I don't know where it is, but we have created a function which swap two numbers, and we have also seen the example call by value and call by reference. Okay, we had created function for this series also, and at that time we have gone for recursive call. So function definitions, we have created a function for this thing also, calling a function. So number of programs we have done for function. Okay, coming back to the outcome, the last one says develop an application using concept of arrays, pointers, structures, and file management. So in a way, just now we have created one application which stores student data permanently. So if what you can do is you can at this place you can ask user, what do you want to do? Do you want to store student data or do you want to print student data? So switch case. Okay, very quickly you can have a switch case here, and whatever user will say, we are going to perform that task, right? So you can have a switch case here. You can ask user first, what do you want to perform? Store student data, read student data. If user says store student data, execute this much part. If user says print student data, execute the second case. And from case 1 and case 2, you can call a proper function. So function is covered, looping part is covered, structure is covered, file handling is also covered, right? Printf, scanf is also covered, calling a function is covered. So multiple parts we have covered inside that example, and that stores your data permanently. So there is file management also. So we can also say that okay, we have looked at all these things, right? Inside our lab sessions, we have gone for all these programs one by one. Majority of the batches are done up to practical number 53. Okay, the remaining programs are very much simple that we will do in this week. So simply printing an address of a pointer, we have seen that inside a lecture part. Then swapping two values using pointer, we have covered already. Previously one program we have covered pointers, right? Then it says print the address of a character and the character, both address and character, both we are going to print from the string. So that also you can do. Access elements using pointer, we have gone for it inside the pointers example. Store using pointer, well, you can have a simply look at the dynamic memory allocation program, where we have gone for accessing data and printing data using pointer. So if you go to DMA and have a look at the first DMA example, then you have allocated a memory runtime. So we were having a pointer here. Using pointer, we have stored data, and using pointer, we have again printed that data. So this much part is what it is asking you to implement. Okay. So using pointer, you store your data. Then it says write a program to write a file, write a string inside a file. Well, string you can write using character by character, or directly you can write it using fputs, put s function, or you can write it using fprintf function also, just like this one, fprintf %s first name. So we have written the string inside a file. Okay, so you can refer this program to complete your 59th program also. I'm going to explain the same thing in the lab session again. And the last practical says there is one file which contains a series of numbers. Now you have to write a program which will read all those numbers, and you are going to separate out those numbers in two different files, odd numbers in odd file, even numbers in the even file, and then display the content of odd and even files on the screen. Well, what we'll do is in a next lecture, I'm going to show you this program also. Okay. So whenever we have a next lecture, I'm going to show you this program related to file handling, and that completes all the thing. So we have completed entire content given by the university for this subject here. Still, we do have few more lectures remaining before your end semester exam starts, right? So what we will do is in those lectures, we will go for doubt solving sessions. If you do have any doubt, we will go for those doubt solvings. Next lecture, I'll show you this program, 60th program from the practical list, and then we'll go for doubt solving session. Okay. Your second mid exam starts from 22nd. Syllabus for that will be starting from, remember, starting from arrays and strings up to dynamic memory allocation. Okay. So let me show you that thing also. Now this is going to be, okay, this is your second mid-sem exam syllabus. Starting from array and string, functions, recursions, pointers, structures, and DMA. From this part, okay, you are going to have your second mid exam. It will be MCQ based online examination. So there will be MCQ questions. Okay, and this is your syllabus for second mid exam. Most probably after your second mid exam, we will be having submissions and viva. So your submissions will be considered from the Google Classroom submissions you have completed. Whatever number of practicals I have asked you to submit there, make sure you upload those programs. Okay. Make sure you upload those programs in the Google Classroom, and that will be your submission. जितने programs आपने submit किए हैं, based on that, your term work marks will be evaluated. And Viva, final Viva schedule will be shared by your class counselor. We'll follow that and we'll have few Viva sessions also. Okay. Yeah, Vyom, you want this mid 2 syllabus or entire subject syllabus? I'll post this syllabus in your WhatsApp chat group. Okay. Fine. Well, about study leave, I don't have any idea. You may ask to your class counselor. Yeah, Sonu, you can take a screenshot also if you want. Yeah, Yusuf is asking how many header files are there and how can we use it? Well, it depends on which C compiler you are using. Turbo C or GCC compiler. Based on that, you'll have some of the different header files. Okay, but header file is nothing but this is what you use it. Include #include stdio.h. So standard input output header file. So this is how you can use it. Every library header file, okay, every header file which comes with the compiler itself, you can use it through include statement, angular brackets, and file name. Now header file is nothing but a C program. Okay, it is nothing like something new. This header file is nothing but a C program. In your next semester data structures subject, we will be creating few header files which works like a header file, and we'll be including it here. Okay, and then we'll be using those files in our demonstration programs. At that time it will be more clear also, but right now for you header file is nothing but a, a C program, a library code which we want to use, and we can use it, we can include it using this include statement. Okay. Yeah, let me go through other chat queries if you have. Yeah, Ayush is asking program submission is for labs or for all? Well, your term work component, okay? Let me show you that thing. When you go to this, just a minute. Where do we have? I want your syllabus file. Just a minute. Yeah. When you have a look at the teaching scheme, okay, for your practical marks, there is going to be end semester Viva 30 and your performance assessment internal 20. Correct? So these 20 marks for your practical will be evaluated from the practical that you submit in your lab session in your Google Classroom. So look, for IT students, I am the faculty who takes labs, and IT students are going to submit their programs to me in Google Classroom, and from that this 20 marks will be evaluated. For other students, just ask your lab faculty how that faculty is going to take your submission. Okay. I don't know. Most probably they might have gone for Google Classroom also. But if they haven't created Google Classroom, then ask that faculty how he or she is going to take your submission. Okay. So this 20 marks is for submission. 30 marks will be from the Viva. We'll have Viva at the end of the semester. Then this 30 marks for theory will come from your mid-exam, And as you all know, we do not have end semester exam from university. For that, you have a progressive assessment, right? That university is going to calculate based on all the marks given from the college. Fine. Internal evaluation is there. So that's how your marks will be calculated. Nirmal is asking any program for AC1? No. Look, all the students will be following this practical list in their lab session, and this is what I am going to, or every faculty will be asking you to submit as a term work. Okay. Well, submission is for all actually, but will be taken by respective faculty. So Janil is asking, how about submission? Submission is for all, but submissions will be taken by respective faculties of your lab session. So IT students submission will be taken by me, maybe other students submissions will be taken by Pankaj sir or maybe the ma'am, right? Any other queries? Sonu Kumar is asking, data structure subject, how many very important? How much important, I believe. Well, data structure for CEIT students is a core subject and very important subject, because in the computer field, wherever you go, data structure is going to be there. You have to structurize your data for efficient use. So in the next semester, you are going to learn data structure subject. Yeah, for hers is asking, Viva will be taken in online mode. Well, that most probably in online mode, but we haven't finalized that thing. Entire schedule and the mode of your Viva will be shared very soon by your class counselor. Whatever institute decides will follow those instructions. Okay, so Tushar is asking, should we have to submit the program which come late in your lecture session? First of all, Tushar, be on time. I've given full instructions, everything clearly I have stated. Okay, so if you are late, then I'll suggest that be on time so you don't miss anything. Submissions are going to be taken by respective faculty of the lab session. So ask your lab faculty how to submit everything for term work evaluation. Well, so that's all from my side. As I already stated, next lecture we are going to see the 60th program, and then we'll go for whatever number of lectures we have. We will go for doubt solving sessions. If you have any doubt, you can ask. We'll solve those doubts. We'll perform few practicals, and that's how we'll go for upcoming lectures. Okay. Viraj, I've already stated your submission will be taken in the Google Classroom. Google Classroom में जितने भी submissions मैंने मांगे हैं, practicals मैंने मांगे हैं, वो submit कर दो, वो आपका submission हो गया. If you are struggling with English, then let me give you instruction in Hindi again. जितने भी प्रोग्राम्स मैं गूगल क्लासरूम के अंदर मांगता हूं, उतने प्रोग्राम्स आप अपलोड कर दोगे. दैट्स गोइंग टू बी कंसिडर्ड एज योर सबमिशन. या a few more last programs are coming in way. Okay, कुछ प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो मैंने अभी तक इश्यू नहीं किए हैं. So I'll issue those assignments in the Google Classroom. Last के कुछ programs हैं जो मैं issue करूँगा, and you have to complete it by 26th of this month. So तब तक मैं जितने भी programs मांगता हूँ आप Google Classroom में डाल दो, वो आपका सबमिशन कंसिडर हो जाएगा. Okay, so let's end this meeting right now and see you in the next lecture then. Okay, bye bye.